Hello guys and welcome back to another Oversky Island review. This week I'm going to take a look at the Pirates area and how the cards have influenced the metagame, and I have some deck lists for you to try out. Pirates area has been pretty cool so far. I've enjoyed some of the inclusions, including Cap 10 and the grappling hook. Red got some really cool stuff, but green yellow also got some really cool cards in the Skyyak and the Swordfish. So let's take a look at the cards and we'll see how they fit into decks and how they've influenced the metagame. Red got some awesome tools in this island, including the legendary Cap 10 Sky Pirate, a combat creature for 4 Faeria, costs 4 lands, 2 mountains and 2 other wildlands, so it can be splashed in other colours, and it's a free 7 with combat. Draw a Gift of Steel from your deck. If there's none left, shuffle 1 in, and this is very powerful because this gives you an option to thin your deck of Gift of Steels, so you want to find them soon, and then you can empower your combat creatures on board. One thing to note about Cap 10 as well is if you have no Gift of Steels in deck and you hit something, you'll shuffle 1 in, and then when you hit something again, you will draw that card you've just shuffled back to your hand. So in a 2-hit combo, you can start replenishing your Gift of Steels, and this is featured in a Red Combat Control. Red Combat Control was very popular back in the core set, and now it's been given some extra tools to help in combat with the Cap 10. You'll make sure you get those Gift of Steels, but also the grappling hook as well, which we'll talk about soon. And yeah, I feel that Red Combat Control has a bright future ahead, especially with this new combat-based legendary. Grappling Hook is a very dangerous red card that can be splashed into other colours thanks to its wildland cost. A free Faeria event that gives a creature ranged for the turn, and then after it attacks a target, it can move into a space adjacent. So very, very powerful for positional play, but also for sniping creatures from afar. And why I like this card in Red Combat Control is because if you don't have the removal for creatures on the other side of the board, you can use your combat creatures or your other creatures to snipe those Faeria harvesters from across the board. And maybe if you have control of the right or left side already, you can switch over to that side and start applying pressure. So a lot of versatility in this card, and the ranged feature is very powerful because your creature isn't going to take damage if it does attack something, and then you're going to be able to reposition your creature into a better spot, either to apply pressure or collect Faeria from the opposite side of the board. So a lot of applications. This card is really fun, and I definitely recommend giving it a go in this Red Combat Control. Our next card is an Oversky Tow Ship, a 5 Faeria, 1 lake, 1 desert, flying -1 creature. Whenever this would leave land, it brings a land with it, and it's a 5/5, which is really good stat line for 5 Faeria. But what I really like about this card is the taking a land with you. This means you can apply more pressure very quickly because you can take land with you, then build land off the land that has been moved. So this is a very good card in something like Blue Jump, because it allows you to move lakes closer to wells, and then you can get Mystic Beasts going, maybe even Axe Grinders as well if you decide to splash them red with this card. So a lot of flexibility already, but I've included it in this experimental build of a Tricolor ramp deck. I just feel like this is a very strong card, so that's why I've included it. I've already got lakes and deserts going in this list, so why not add a 5/5 that can allow me to apply more pressure? So this card is pretty simple, just takes lands with it, very good stats like I said, and this can have some great applications in certain archetypes like Blue Jump, or maybe a red deck where you can get power-ups on your Axe Grinders, and of course with the Blue Jump with the Mystic Beast. So keep that in mind when using this card. Just a generally very good card overall, and I'm sure you guys will find some use for it in your decks. Skyward Swordfish is another 5 Faeria creature, but costs 1 forest and 1 desert, and then 3 wildlands. It has flying, taunt, and -1, and it's a 4/7 creature. So very durable body, has a lot of life. That -1 and flying lets it get into good positions to defend, and I think this card is just really solid. I don't think it's had many applications as of yet. It could potentially fit in a green-yellow sack. If you're running some kind of Sky Yak combo deck, you could run this as well as a defensive tool. But I really like this card, and I wanted to fit it into my Tricolor land ramp deck. And I think it fits quite nicely because I'm going for these lands anyway. And having a cheap taunt is always very valuable, especially when it has 7 life. And it can dash and it can fly, so you can get into very good positions. Offensively, you can use it as a way to block creatures or lock them into position when you're trying to apply pressure. Defensively, it can just protect your orb or protect your Faeria harvesters. Again, very versatile creature, and hopefully it'll see much more play in other decks. The last card of this Tricolor land ramp deck is the Sky Yak, and this has inspired so many different decks as of recent. Very, very cool card. It's a free Faeria, 1 forest, 1 desert creature. It's flying and can be summoned adjacent to friendly creatures, so you don't have to summon this on a forest or desert as long as you have a creature in play, and it can be summoned on the ocean tiles as well because it's a flyer. And a gift, summon a Sky Yak for each friendly one that has died this game. So already you can imagine what kind of mischief this card can cause. In this list specifically, and this is kind of the main inspiration for this card so far, is playing Aurora's Creation. You play a Sky Yak, you copy it, you let it die, then you play 2 Sky Yaks off the first gift, and then you play 4 Sky Yaks off the second gift, and then 8, and then so on and so forth. You can summon a lot of Sky Yaks with Aurora's Creation, and the direction a lot of players have taken with this is using Gift of Rakoan and a haste creature like the Ninja Toad or the Wind Soldier to set up a 1-turn kill. But the way I've applied it to this deck is it's just a combo you can go for to apply pressure. There is a Gift of Rakoan in this, but it's not so much based around a 1-turn kill strategy. It's just utilizing a lot of powerful dual and tricolor cards that have been offered in the expansion so far, and I really enjoy this list. I think it's really good because of that factor. You know, you get to use the best of the current cards in the expansion. And as you can see here, we have the Frog Tosser, the Skywood Swordfish, Fugoro, so there's a lot of synergies together with Aurora's Creation, and the Sky Yak is one of the more powerful ones. So yeah, this Tricolor land ramp deck is a bit experimental. I'd recommend giving it a go. I've had a lot of fun with it, and if you have any variations of the build or any different ideas, be sure to share them in the comments below. Before we move on to my last deck, I'd like to talk about the 2 cards that haven't had much impact on the metagame yet. Sky Anemone is a 0 cost, 1 mountain, 1 desert flying taunt that can be summoned anywhere and has 3 life. Now, this is a card you can't really build a deck around. It's more of a tech choice to help the red-yellow decks in kind of rush matchups, or maybe lock out a defender so you can apply more pressure. It does have a lot of flexibility with it can be summoned anywhere, and it's flying, so you can summon it on the ocean, but really hasn't seen much play. I believe I played against 1 in all the Oversky that I've played in the last week. Manta Rider is a card I wish was really good, because I kind of want Yellow Control to come back, but right now I don't feel like Yellow Control is strong enough, and maybe Manta Rider isn't the card Yellow Control needs right now. The Last Word summon a 2/2 Manta with flying and charge 2 is really cool. Like, you get another creature once this dies, but in most cases, if you play a Manta Rider, your opponent is probably going to ignore it, or they're going to have follow-up removal for the 2/2, or they're just going to swallow it, and you're not going to see the full effect of the card. So these 2 might see more play as the last Oversky Islands are released, or the metagame gets changed during the course of the Oversky's lifespan. But for now, I don't feel like they're strong enough to feature in any primary decks. For our last card of this island review, we have Flash Salmon. This card is nuts. 1 Faeria, 2 deserts, flying, haste, charge 2. Can't harvest. At the end of your turn, destroy this creature and draw a card. This card is insanely good. 2 reasons. 1, it acts as removal, so you can use this card as a piece of removal. It's cheap, it doesn't really cost much, it costs the same as a Falcon Dive, it doesn't collect Faeria, but that doesn't matter, and you can just remove a threat with this. 2. The second application, using this card to activate Kaleem's Prayer or push damage, letting it die at the end of the turn, and then cycling it to draw an additional card. This is a very valuable card for any kind of yellow deck, really. Yellow Rush makes the most of it, but I believe that any other yellow archetype could use this card just as removal or as a way to cycle and thin the deck. This card is crazy when you take a look at the list that I've posted with it. This is my Rakoan Combo Rush deck. Now, you guys might remember green-yellow haste combo. Kind of similar. It doesn't one-turn kill you, it more two-turn kills you. It sets up a lot of damage in one turn using the Path to Paradise along with the Rakoan Chieftain and haste creatures. You apply a lot of damage in one turn, usually within 10 to 12 damage, and then you either finish them off with more haste creatures or you finish them off from hand using Flame Burst. So this is a very, very powerful snowball deck that can catch your opponent off guard, and it is very difficult to play. I've played this a lot recently, and you will find that you have to kind of work out puzzles using your haste creatures, using your Rakoans and your Path to Paradise to be able to set up lethals. So you will find yourselves in tricky situations, but I believe this deck can win from any position given the right card. So very, very powerful list so far. There may be some counters. I do believe this list does have the advantage of players not really knowing what it does. When I was playing at the start of the ladder reset recently, I climbed all the way up to rank 7 with this quite smoothly. I was learning the deck as I was going along as well, and I felt that my opponent pretty much didn't understand what was going on until it's too late. So this deck might decrease in power as it becomes, players become more aware of it. So you guys are now aware of this. Be careful. If you see a forest in front of someone's orb followed by a mountain, it's more than likely going to be this Rakoan combo deck. So Flash Salmon, very, very powerful card. I can see this card having a lot of applications in yellow variation decks in the future, so keep an eye out for it. That wraps up this Oversky Island review. The Pirates area has been completed, and we have one Oversky Island left, and that is the Gaia's Naval, and that will conclude the release of all the Faeria Oversky cards, and then we'll have access to every single card from this expansion. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, drop a subscribe to keep up to date on when our content goes live. If you haven't already, check out Faeria.com/the-hub for all the latest decks, guides, and articles from the community and myself. So until next time, guys, take care and enjoy the Pirates area.
Discover the Adventure Pouch Oversky, featuring a first-of-its-kind co-op campaign. Team up with either friends or powerful Faeria characters and discover a ton of new content, including more than 30 new cards. Join now to experience the Emperor's daily challenges and reap exclusive rewards. Explore the Oversky and reap the rewards today.